The king's daughters. A long time ago, a wealthy king had 3 beautiful daughters. They had everything they wanted offered to them on a platter of gold. However, only one thing was lacking in their life. None of them had a husband, nor a suitor. This made the king very unhappy. He had food, but he could not eat. What shall we do now? He asked his wife. I want my children to be happily married, but they think that no one is good enough for them. The king's daughters were, however, not bothered. I want to marry the richest man alive, said the oldest sister. The king's daughters were, however, not bothered. I want to marry the richest man alive, said the oldest. I want to marry the most handsome man, the younger sister said arrogantly. As for the younger sister, I want to marry a king like my father. Only he will be richer and more powerful. Oh, what a life I shall live, being the queen of a great empire. Their mother, the queen, added, whoever marries my daughters will be a lucky man. See how beautiful they all are. Oh no, my daughters will only marry the best men in the whole land. The king's heart was very troubled. He told his wife, I'm finding my daughters men who will love and care for them. I will not watch them grow old without husbands and children. Do whatever you want, said the queen. But my daughters will only marry anyone who can tell their names. That way, I will be sure they are marrying the wisest man in the entire land. It was announced throughout the land that the king wanted the wisest man to marry his children. Whoever could tell their names would be given their hands in marriage. The rich and the famous went with gifts to the palace to try, but they couldn't guess the princesses' names. No one ever called them by their real names. Everyone called them the princesses. Soon, every available man in the land had gone to ask for the princesses' hands in marriage. But no one could tell their names. So the tortoise, a very crafty animal, decided he would give it a try. But before he went to the palace, he sneaked around the princesses, following them everywhere without their knowledge. Just when the tortoise started to think there was no hope for him, luck smiled on him one day. The princesses went apple picking on the outskirts of the town. They hadn't gone very far when the youngest princess saw a bike. Now, a bike was a very uncommon sight in those days. The youngest princess was so excited that she started singing. As she sang, she called her older sister by her real name. The younger sister rushed over and she did the same, calling their oldest sister. They ended up singing together, dancing around the bike and calling each other's name. That was how the tortoise knew all their names. But alas, the tortoise remembered all the princesses' names. He went to the palace and told the king. The whole town gathered and the tortoise said the names of each princess. Everyone was shocked. The king had no choice but to give all his daughters to the tortoise as his wives. The princesses and the queen were extremely sad, but there was nothing anyone could do. And so, the tortoise started to take the princesses home as his wives. On their way to Tortoise's home, the princesses were so ashamed that the princesses were so ashamed that they each chose a very different lifestyle rather than become the tortoise's wife. And so it happened that since that day, no one ever saw any of the princesses again. The king and the queen were very sad, but there was nothing anyone could do. If only the princesses and their mother had known, they would not have been so proud and arrogant in choosing their husbands. And that is the end of the story of the king's daughters. What are some lessons that we learned from this story? Number 1, we learn to love. Love is not all about money. Love is all not about riches. Another thing we learned from this story is not to be arrogant. Treat every human being with respect. Don't look down on people because you don't know what will happen to you in the future. Love each other because the same blood that flows in your vein is the same blood that flows in the poor man, in the white man, in the black man, in the albino, in the cripple, in everybody. The same blood that flows through them. If I use a blade and I cut you and blood comes out and you feel the pain, the same thing happens to everybody. Even though your pain may vary, maybe from 1 to 10, you may feel the pain 1 to 5, 3, 6, 7, 10, but it's still the pain and it's still blood. I love you all. If this is your first time coming to my channel, kindly subscribe. I will give you lots of African folk tales. Love you all.